Well, hello and welcome to the next installment. And I always get so excited when I say the next installment of Chatter, that podcast about the conversations we have with ourselves all the way up in our mind. I always refer to it as my monkey mind. Other people call it so many different things. We're going to be having a chat today about health, wellness, and mindsets, and losing connection with themselves. And our expert today is Raymond McAloon. I did it. I rolled my R's there for you, Raymond. I rolled my R's. I'm clearly not Scottish, as my wife likes to remind me, but I have lived in Scotland for about 20 years now. So Raymond McAloon, say hi.
Good morning, good afternoon even. How are we?
How are you, Raymond?
Pardon?
I said, how are you?
Oh, I'm very well, yeah.
Absolutely. Am I not loud enough? Bearing in mind, I'm generally one of the loudest people you'll ever meet.
Yeah, I just didn't catch that last bit. We're good. We're all good.
It's my English, Raymond. I get it. I'll try and speak a little bit more Fife for you. All right?
Yeah, let's see how that works out.
Well, Raymond, introduce yourself, because we were just having a chat before we got started, and some fascinating subjects, and especially about men losing connection with themselves. And I think that is something that's getting more and more prevalent these days, about how men are losing connections with themselves. So Raymond, explain to me and to all our lovely listeners a little bit about yourself.
About me, that's the hardest thing to talk about for most of us, isn't it?
Yep.
I'm a fitness coach. I work with predominantly men in the fitness and wellness arena. We cover, obviously, trying to get ourselves fit from the inside out as well as the outside in. I work on what I call a hierarchy of wellness. So I start off wellness-wise, I talk about the foundations of what we need to be healthy is mindset, nutrition and sleep. So that's the basis of I work with people round about that initially. Then that leads into, as we join up into the fitness aspects, about circuit training, metabolic conditioning and mobility. From there, then we'll look at strength and cardiovascular work and round about that. The big factor about doing all this type of work for myself is to allow people to actually begin to prioritize their own health and strength. Yeah, begin to look at themselves and keeping themselves healthy rather than focusing on everything else round about it. And as you say, we end up becoming disconnected with ourselves and people round about us. Yeah, we have to prioritize ourselves so we can give more to the people round about us. If our cup's empty, we've got nothing to give anybody else, is there? So it's all about trying to fill that cup up through the mental health, wellness, the physical aspects round about that. So we're the best version of ourselves for moving forward.
Yeah.
Through that, obviously, I've worked in this area for quite a long time now, and I've found a lot of professional men, they end up so focused and driven on their specific fields that they end up so disconnected. They can't be themselves. So what you end up with is somebody who is running a company, or they're so busy that they have a certain persona that they become, and they'll lose themselves a little bit through that. So when they're at their work, they are this persona because they're the go-to person for everybody. So they can't be seen as being vulnerable or letting their hair down and having a laugh because they have a position to hold. So from that, we create a space where people can come along, we can be ourselves. It's okay to be a man, it's okay to be who we are, and to have a bit of laugh and a joke, whilst coming back and prioritising ourselves through our health and our wellness, and through that, and actually discussing what's going on in our lives. And hopefully, when we have our group together, it's a case in point of we can guide and help each other throughout the day, because it doesn't matter what area we come from private banking, from the whiskey industry, from a bus driver, from a fitness enthusiast, we all have the same problems and the same thoughts going on in our head. Yeah, and it's then getting that out there and us all having a chat about it and putting things in perspective, shall we say? Mm-hmm. Because as you know, if we keep things in our head, things can just spiral out of control. We end up in that circle.
Over.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. It bubbles over. That's that monkey mind, that overthinking mind, the erratic, the emotional part of our mindset that absolutely turns up in so many people's life. And I'll be honest with you, Raymond, with a lot of the guys most of my clients have been ladies, and I always say fair play to the ladies because most of my clients are ladies. However, just recently I've had a massive uptake on gentlemen coming in and asking for, right, I need to chat about my monkey mind, my overthinking, and how that's turning up in my life. Because we get locked with these conversations, Raymond.
Absolutely.
We get so locked. And I always remember this, and I always say, I've said this probably many a times, is I couldn't have a conversation with my wife because I got so locked up in here. And it was just, I thought I was having conversations with my wife, and I'm like, my wife would be like, nope, we've never had that conversation. So I was having these conversations here, thinking they were real, verbalizing them up in here, but never actually getting them out. So I completely understand where you're coming from. And
Yeah.
I think it's fascinating. I'd love to deep dive that, the men being vulnerable, because that's something that we're not, there's a concept of us struggling to be vulnerable. So explain to me more about men being vulnerable. I like that.
Men being vulnerable, it's just a case in point of being ourselves. As I say, we all put on, or a lot of people I work with, including myself, we all put this persona on of who we are and how other people see us. And we start to worry about, or that's who we are. We're in, as I said already, specific roles, whether that be at our work, in the home, etc., etc. So from that, it's then breaking down that barrier. If you're in a safe environment and you can trust the people around about you, you then realise it's okay to be vulnerable. We can actually speak about things. Oh, this has happened. I'm not feeling too great about it. And it is that space where we can be ourselves and discuss sometimes perhaps awkward things or awkward conversations we might not have in the house. And at the same time, we try to do it through laughter and a nice Scottish word, banter.
Banter.
Good bit of banter, a bit of
I
nonsense.
love banter.
So
now, what happens when banter's not well received, though, Raymond?
Well received. They probably get
If
more
it's
of it,
not
to be
well
honest.
received, what happens when? Because I love banter. I genuinely love it. I love that word banter. I think that's a great way of summing up men being men sometimes, having a little bit of a banter, having a little bit of a jibe and stuff like that. But we have to pull those barriers down, and sometimes there's need for those open, real chats.
Yes, yes.
Brilliant.
There are times it happens. Not too often, to be perfectly honest. I suppose I've been quite lucky. You challenged me here. Sometimes you maybe got to take a little bit step back. Yeah. If we're in that sort of that environment and things are going on and somebody's uncomfortable, the whole idea is everybody being comfortable when we're there. Yeah. So if it means taking a little bit step back and then possibly having a private conversation with somebody after to see what that trigger point was that's actually caused the reaction of why isn't it banter for them? Because there's also always something lying deeper in there that's causing that. Yeah. And that's something that we may have to address for themselves to move forward. For me, everybody's welcome, but it's at the same time, it's a group and you've got to be careful who is invited into the group and who is part of that group. Everybody's invited, but who's part of it and who remains part of it is you have to be a certain type of person for that. Yeah. And I have certain values that I work through. Yeah. Personal responsibility, open-mindedness, mutual respect. That's our core values that we work with. Yeah. So yeah, it is just sometimes those one-to-one conversations to try and ascertain what's actually going on at that point, and if we can help them in any way. Yeah. Because there's things that are way above where I am, and there's specialists out there for that type of thing that they may have to speak to something else. I create a group where people can have a laugh, where we can discuss things, where we train hard so we get, as I said, the happy hormones released. So barriers are getting broken down. We're creating that connection at the same time through that, helping each other through sometimes the hardness of that actual workout, the push, the grind. And that is one part of it. The banter is another part of it. And some people reflect really well in one and not well in another. And we try to do the best to facilitate them the best that we can. Not always easy.
Now, you talked about men losing connection with themselves, and there's a six-step process that you like to work through. So just briefly go through those 6 steps for me.
What we do is, as part of my treats, is when we bring people in, we start off with the community aspect. It's all about creating that trust. Yeah, so we come in and we'll go back to that word banter. We'll have a bit of laugh. We'll try and break down barriers at that point, make people feel comfortable. So that's the first part, is the community aspect. From there, we move on and we move to the challenge. Yeah, where we're going to challenge people personally and as part of a team. And that's done in a physical sort of arena, whereas we're working physically on our own, pushing ourselves, and then as part of a team. And it's actually realizing as part of that team, we're not on our own. It's okay to have other people around about us. It's okay to rely on somebody else to help us lift something, to move something. And at the same time, realizing that there's a common objective at hand here. And if I need to step out at any point and somebody else needs to step in to allow us to achieve that goal, that objective quicker, that we do that. So we're strong enough to step in when we're needed, but we're also strong enough to step out when we're not needed, or whereas we will be slowing things down a bit. Yeah. And that creates, yet again, we're hitting into the happy hormones around about the body. We're creating that connection where people then trust each other a little bit further. So from there, we move on to the next aspect, is where we look at our vision. What is our vision? Yeah. Where are we going with this? And we do that. Part of the vision and the way we look at it as a group is the health and wellness. Our vision is to have you basically happy, healthy, yeah, and well through that. So we'll do a bit of a nutrition input round about these sort of things. So we're eating well. So if we're healthy on the outside, we then become healthy on the outside. And the inside, it helps us become healthy on the outside at the same time. We feel good. We feel better about ourselves. We move on from there. We then look a little bit into the mindset, where we'll have looking at personality types, possibly coming into goal setting, and then a success mindset. Yeah. So we're moving forward. Yeah. Your victim, survivor, navigator type thing. Yeah. Whereas we like to keep on saying there's no problems, there's only solutions.
Absolutely.
Yeah? So we're solution orientated and we're working towards that. And it's just trying to change that mindset round about it. So from there, we move on to the next part, which is our focus. Yeah. And focus, we talk about no mind. So through that, it's through a skill-based event. I won't tell you any more than that just now. As we bring people in, and it's a case in point of we're trying to learn something where there's no outside interference. Life at the moment is everybody wants the Facebook, the dopamine hit, the like, we get so distracted from ourselves and being present, being in the here and now. And that's what life's all about. It's being in the here and now and enjoying the moment and learning from that moment. So we have created a structure around about that where you have to be there and you learn from that point. I can't really expand any more than that at the moment because
no, it's okay. No, I work a lot with my clients on the here and now, and I'm a big fan of Eckhart Tolle, which is a massive influence of being present.
Absolutely.
And it's not easy to be present for guys.
Yeah.
And ladies, it's not with everything that's going on. And you talk about social media aspect of things, and it's either, depending on the perspective you see social media, it's a blessing or an absolute disgrace. It depends what emotional aspect you take from it. And with those triggers that we have, so I completely understand that. It's brilliant. Yeah. But being present is harder than people realize these days.
It's so hard. It's so hard because we're thinking in the past, we're thinking in the future. Yeah. And the unfortunate thing around about that, you'll know more about this than me, is when we're thinking about things and we're seeing the pictures, our body actually doesn't know what's real and what's not.
Does not in any way. It has no judgment whatsoever. You could think of a lemon or taste a lemon, it's the exact same thing. Exactly.
So we'll have all those hormone responses and that go on through our body just by thinking about things. So it's actually realizing being in the here and now and actually being happy where we are is a very, very powerful place to be and a very healthy place to be. It's great to have goals and aspirations, and it's great to learn from the past, but it's all about the here and now.
Yep. Absolutely.
And so that's the aspect that we try to bring in the focus when we talk about that. Then the last bit we'll look at is we come in at support. Yeah, it's actually realizing, like throughout the weekend that we work, or when we work with the people, is there is a support group there of your peers, and we realize that we're all going through the same thing. Yeah, that we've supported each other throughout the weekend to achieve and the goals that will be set for them. Yeah, the learning aspects that's there, and when we leave the place at the same time, we've still got the support of that community, because that's what we're trying to create, is a community united in fitness. Yeah, where men can openly be themselves. Yeah, where we can see we can be healthy, we can be vulnerable at the same time, but we can still have a laugh and we can still be successful and do what we need to do, rather than just focusing on that one aspect. So that's pretty much the process that we follow through as we're running through. Yeah,
absolutely brilliant, fantastic. Right. So, why is mindset look? Mindset gets talked about more and more these days, and I've been a big fan of mindset for a long, long time, getting me out of the absolute depth that I was in many, many years ago. And I always remember a fantastic book by Carol Estwecker, which was Mindset.
Yeah,
Carol Estwecker, phenomenal book. If anyone wants to ever go out and read that one about mindset. But why is it mind? And that was always talking about the growth mindset, and the fixed mindset. So how is it that more and more people are really looking into how your mind is set is how your day is going to be? So how come mindset? Now, I believe your background was police force as well, I believe. Is that right?
I was in the police for 21 years, yeah.
And how did mindset play, how has mindset played a big part in your life?
I think you'll find the mindset kind of came a point towards the end of my career. You become a certain mindset when you're doing that job all the time because of what you're doing, what you're seeing, and you shut down. So I personally, here we go, I became disconnected from myself, from my emotions, and from other people, because there's a lack of trust because the situation's not we're dealing with at that point. So towards the end of my police career, I married my wife, my beautiful, beautiful wife, Amanda, and she's massively into mindset. She took me to my first personal development course, which was Tony Robbins at the time.
Tony Robbins, good egg.
Yeah, actually blew my mind. All these people jumping about and being happy. I was never used to that. Yeah, I was like, these people want to cuddle me. I had this huge barrier up round about me. So you can see how my course and what I do is coming about through my personal experiences. Yeah, this was me. So I then, through working with my wife and doing various courses, I did the SCI seminars. I did their weekend, one of the longest running personal development courses in the world at the moment, 45 years, I think. Yep. So I went through their courses, both here and in America, and the leadership courses. I did all that. And you start to reconnect with yourself. And the last one I did was a men's leadership course, where it was obviously there's only men on that ranch at that time, because even simple things like they said, like even a lady being on the ranch at the time can disrupt what's actually happening, because as men we act differently when females are around about. We're back down to that the humans that we are, back down to I don't know how you would actually say that. Go back to our caveman days.
We do. We go back to that inner chimp. Absolutely.
Inner chimp. There you go. There's the word I'm after. Inner chimp. Yeah. So from there, through the training aspect and dealing with lots and lots of other people round about that, you start to see other people are going through the same sort of thing as what I was going through. Yeah. As you grow, as you enlighten, as you open your mind, you then start to see what's going on around about you and identify people that were like you, etc., etc. And I was like that. As we started to move forward, you're like, I can actually help people here. I know the difference it's made to my life, opening my mind and allowing people in, allowing myself to be vulnerable and to actually be open and speak to people. It made a massive, massive difference to the quality of my life. And being reconnected with my peers, actually being able to have a laugh with people again and feel safe in all environments. And so from that, that's how the natural progression was, moving through that into creating the United Fitness brand, which I'm creating at the moment, into the retreats. So I can then pass on what I've learned and through the really high-end speakers that I've got that are coming in, so they can pass their knowledge on at the same time, so we can help as many people as we possibly can and create a community of men that are connected through United Fitness.
Absolutely. No, it's true. It's true. No, we've got I do a radio show for men's mental health down in London. There's like 100,000 listeners to the radio station. Phenomenal Wonderful. Thing. Now, what I will say, and it is, you say men act differently when women are around. Most of our listeners live are ladies. That's the thing. We get ladies who are coming in because this is how closed off men are. I know how closed off I was. It sounds like you were closed off at one point as well, which is completely understandable. So what do our wives do? Because they love and care for us, they go looking for answers to try and help the men because they want to help. And that is that unfortunate part of you can't help guys that don't want to help. Same with ladies. You can't help ladies that don't want to help. It doesn't work like that. So you create this space and you hope people come to it because then they're on that quest. when you were disconnected, how hard was it for you to connect? And were people trying to help you, but you were like, I don't need help, there's nothing wrong? How was that disconnection? How did that turn up in your life, Raymond?
I think the environment I was actually in at that time, I was actually running, I had my own gym at the same time. I didn't see the help. If the help was there, I didn't see it was there.
Right.
And I'm not saying it wasn't there.
Correct.
I wasn't open to it being there. And
yeah.
that's part to end up in that, as you say, the circle of chimp mind. That's where it all ends up.
Spiral.
The downward spiral. We're telling ourselves stories. We start to believe those stories.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was caught in that rut round about it. And I was just very, very lucky that although I was closed, I was looking for something. And I think this is like a lot of the people that come to me, is like a lot of professional men, is they're at the point that they're almost at rock bottom sometimes. Yeah. And they're looking for help. And
absolutely,
when they see, like, I'm out with some of my friends, or like we do a Saturday morning, actually down Dalgety Bay, we've got my logs and my sandbags and we run about, and it's all about that fresh air and fun. Yeah, exercise, fresh air and fun, and working together. When you see the smiles, the laughter, and how barriers are broken down through that, that's what tends to bring people to me. So they look at it, and then it is that, yeah, this is what I want. I want to be part of something. It's atomic mind. We all want to identify ourselves with a certain group.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it's pulling it back to that and realizing that, yeah, we can have it all. And there's no reason we can't have it. We've just got to open ourselves up and to look for that. It's there for us. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm loving this, Raymond. Absolutely loving this. So I've got a couple of questions, because I want to find out more about you, Raymond, because I think United in Fitness, the health and wellness and the mindset retreat sounds absolutely fantastic. And I think it's really cool when we share those experiences that we've had, those dark days, those you mentioned it there, that a lot of guys don't come to you until they've hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
And that is that's the downside to the business that we're both in. I'm a mind management coach, so I help people with stress, anxiety, depression, and we're solution finders. We're both in the solution finding market. I think that is one of the most powerful ways that we can say we create solutions.
Yeah. I
always find that the real sad part of what we do is that they don't come to us until they've hit rock bottom. But you have to, like myself, it wasn't until I had that rock bottom moment where my wife said, whatever you're going through is starting to affect me. That was my rock bottom, which is not a bad rock bottom moment for a lot of people, in all fairness. There's worse situations that a lot of people are in. And it's such a shame, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on why is it we have to hit rock bottom before we seek help? Why is that? You might not have the answers, Raymond. I've got no idea to that one, Cuddy. But I always question that myself. Why is it we have to hit rock bottom before we think there's something wrong?
As you say, that's $1 million question. If we could fix that, we could fix the world.
I love it. I love that.
From that, I would say it is that spiral. We go into ourselves, and it becomes harder and harder to ask for help. It's easy to ask for help, and it's easy to be a certain person when everything's going well. But when things start to go wrong, as men a lot of the time, and I'm sure a lot of women do this as well, we go into ourselves. Yeah, I talk about men because that's where my experiences are.
Of course, absolutely.
So it just tends to be that spiral, and it goes round and round in their head, or our heads, yeah, to the point that we get to that, it's enough's enough. And everybody has a different aspect, a different point when that enough is. Yeah. Thankfully for me, it wasn't as low as what a lot of other people were or are. Yeah? Some people way into the depths. Yeah. Some people catch it just at the start. But all human beings are all different.
Yeah.
And why that person, that individual, chooses that precise moment for it to be their bottom, I actually don't know, and I can't answer that. But the sooner they can, the sooner we can, the better things are, and the quicker we come out of it and realise that life's actually really good, and it's there for us to take a hold of.
You're right. And Raymond, I'm going to throw you a big question, because I enjoy your expertise. I enjoy how we're really enjoying this conversation. I love it. How, being a man of being able to understand and seeing how people are, you get that picture of people, you see the model of their world, you see that, oh, maybe that gentleman's on the downward spiral. And when you go over and try and help or put yourself into a position to help, and that help is not welcomed, how do you, Raymond, deal with that? Thinking, do I push that a little bit and think, well, no, actually, let's chat, or do you back off and think they have to hit that button before they come to see me? How does that work for you, Raymond?
It's different for every individual that you speak to, but definitely it's a case in point of the person has to be ready, and for that, we'll come back to that, creating a space, whether it be going up and saying hello, having a laugh, look, we're always here, this is what we do. If you ever want to come along, this is where we are, you're always welcome. So you open the door. We can't force anybody to step through that door. And even if they step through the door and they're not ready, it might not have any benefit, and it might be detrimental to them at the same time, depending on the individual. So they have to be ready for it.
Yeah, cool. I think that's a really cool way of looking at it, Raymond. I genuinely do. So you've got all these years of experience in the police, which I've got friends who have worked in the police, and I've heard horror stories of the things that you have to see and deal with on a daily basis in the police. But right now, just to finish up, what is your passion, Raymond? What is your passion? Because we talked about this before the show, but now this is my passion. So I really want you to share, what is your passion?
My passion at the moment is I love what I do. I absolutely love what I do. We'll go out and we do the best aspect for me when I'm out on Saturday working with my guys is we're running about together, we're getting fresh air, we're working really hard together, and it's just the laughter. That makes it, that is the highlight of my week when we do that initial. And that's my passion. I love seeing that, and I love seeing the way the guys come together and we are. And that's what does it for me. I love to see people advancing. I love to see people succeeding and getting better. And whatever aspect we're talking about, it doesn't have to be business. It doesn't have to be fit. Just getting better in themselves. And anything else round about it. We always celebrate success, and we jump on that wagon. And that being there and being about that, that's my passion. And if I can help people round about that, and I can help them achieve it, that's the best thing in the world for me.
Brilliant. That's beautiful. That's purpose, isn't it?
That's purpose. Yeah. It's
once you've got purpose, you have a goal, you have a vision, and that's what creates that abundance of success in not only your life but others as well, Raymond.
Yeah. And it's taken me a long time to actually realise that, and to find really that is what my passion was. And and it's been a roller coaster ride, but that's your learning experience. And through the experiences, like yourself, Cuddy, that's how we can pass it on and hopefully help as many people as possible.
Honestly, mate, I absolutely love that. So United Raymond McAloon, I still love the name. That might be the best name of one of my guests so far. McAloon, I love that. I genuinely love that. United in Fitness, you are located in Dalgety Bay in Fife, is that right?
That's correct, yes. Yeah.
And now you do train on Saturday mornings?
I do train on the Saturday mornings. I also do daily, I do personal training sessions, I do small group sessions. But the primary part of my business is what I'm building up just now is my weekend retreats.
The weekend retreats.
Absolutely. Yeah, which is where we take people through that six-stage process of the community into the challenge, etc., working through the 6 stages to bring them together and hopefully break down those barriers, and we can become more connected and part of ourselves and part of life again. And as much fun as possible at the same time.
Absolutely fantastic. Raymond, thank you so much. I know we've just talked about this before, but I can't wait to get your wife on a podcast.
Yeah, she's exceptional.
I can't wait. We're going to have the subject of how to rewire your subconscious mind. I'm a big fan of that. I work a lot with the subconscious mind. I always come from a place of bring your subconscious or your unconscious to your conscious, then you can make a decision. You can start making changes to your identity, your behavior, and those conversations that we have with ourselves. So I would love to have your wife on a podcast coming up very shortly. So I'm holding you to that, Raymond.
I shall speak to her. I'm sure she'll be more than happy to come on.
Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I love it. Raymond, stay right there because I know I'm going to have a chat with you after, but I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody for tuning in for another episode of Chatter About the Chatter. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, those conversations that we have, that we make, that we think are real, are not. And the meaning we're creating on a daily basis is creating our behaviors and our emotional states. Be very much aware of your monkey mind. It's not there to assist you in any way if you don't know how to manage it. And as always, I'm a big fan of change your thoughts, change your life. And as always, big love from Cuddy Cudworth, the proud founder and CEO of Monkey Mind Relaxation. We'll see you on the next show. Join the Facebook group. Do whatever you need to do, but do it with a smile. Big love from Cuddy, everyone.